हेलो एंड वेलकम टू माय चैनल लर्निंग टैंक। मैं डॉक्टर सुरुचि तिवारी आज आप लोगों को रामापिथिकस के बारे में एक शॉर्ट में पूरा एक ओवरव्यू बताऊंगी। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। रामापिथिकस, जिसको कि हम लोग कई जगह सिवापिथिकस भी पढ़ते हैं, रामापिथिकस एंड सिवापिथिकस आर नाउ बीइंग merged into a single category. Sivapiticus was the robust form and Ramapithecus was the less robust form, and hence it is named differently. Ramapithecus के जो fossils हैं वो हमें Sivalik Hills से मिले थे and it was discovered by G.E. Lewis in 1930. उनको जॉ का एक अपर पोर्शन मिला था सिवालिक हिल्स में, जिसके बेसिस पे उन्होंने रिकंस्ट्रक्ट किया था कि हाउ मस्ट बी द लुक ऑफ द रामापिथिकस। रामापिथिकस का जो टाइम पीरियड था वो था फ्रॉम मायोसीन टू प्लायोसीन। जो और डिस्कवरीज हुई हैं रामापिथिकस और सिवापिथिकस से रिलेटेड वो हुई हैं इन 1961 LBS लीकी discovered some of the fossils from the Fort Turner in Kenya, and the species was named as Kenyapithecus. The fossil included both the sides of the jaw. Now, last जो सिवालिक हिल्स में मिला था वो अपर जॉ का पार्ट मिला था, बट यहाँ पर जो केनिया में हम लोगों को मिला है, केनिया में हमें दोनों साइड्स ऑफ द जॉ मिले हैं। लीकी नेम्ड इट Kenyapithecus vicari, right? The other specimens have been discovered from Turkey, Hungary and Greece as well. आइए देख लेते हैं कि phylogenetic position क्या है Ramapithecus की। Ramapithecus, due to its small facial size, had high probability to be the ancestor of hominids. Initially, Ramapithecus was considered to be the direct ancestor of hominid because the facial size and the facial reconstruction of Ramapithecus and the small features which we discovered from the fossils were very much similar to the hominids. It was supposed to be the ancestor of hominids initially, but later on the molecular studies of the fossils discovered gave a different picture. Now, the fossil finds in Europe and Asia suggest that Dryopithecus gave rise to three genera, right? The Sivapithecus, which was the robust size, then the Gigantopithecus, and the third was the Ramapithecus. Some of the fossils were found in Europe, some of them were found in Asia, and they were named accordingly. And it was believed that Dryopithecus gave rise to all these three genera. The facial and the dental features of Ramapithecus clearly reveal its similarity to later hominids, and that is why it was initially supposed to be the ancestor of hominid. The scientists suggest that it belonged to a line between Dryopithecus group belonging to the early Miocene and later modern hominids. Scientists का ऐसा मानना है कि ये जो रामापिथिकस है ये ड्रायोपिथिकस ग्रुप का ही है and it belonged to early Miocene and it was a link between the early Miocene period and the later modern hominids. It has been widely regarded as first hominid ancestor of Australopithecus prima facie. Now, there are two views of human relationship with apes. जो पहली थ्योरी है वो ये कहती है the pre-molecular view states that the human lineage diverged initially from the other apes approximately 15 to 30 million years ago. जो 13 to 50 million years पहले यहाँ पर जो ancestral line थी वो diverge हो गई and one of them gave rise to Ramapithecus, which later on gets transformed into humans, modern humans, and the other line was that of apes, which gave rise to two different types of apes. The first, the Asian apes, and the other one were the African apes. African apes diverged first and later on the Asian apes. But the molecular view, the theory which came to us later, states that Asian apes were the first to diverge. They said this theory, the molecular theory, says that the Asian apes were the first to diverge from the ancestral stock. This is our ancestral stock, and from this ancestral stock, the first divergence was that of the Asian apes, जिसमें कि Sivapithecus and Ramapithecus belong करते हैं, and then 5 to 7 million years ago, the African apes were diverged from the stock, and later on, the humans developed. This is the molecular theory which is now being accepted by the scientists very well. Now, the subsequent fossil findings subsumed that the Ramapithecus into the previously defined taxon Sivapithecus, which is thought to be an ancestor of orangutan. Now, जो latest थ्योरी है मॉलिक्यूलर थ्योरी, उसके हिसाब से हमारा जो रामापिथिकस है, ये रामापिथिकस है, एंसेस्टर है हमारे ओरंगुटन का. बट रामापिथिकस का जो लोकोमोशन है वो ओरंगुटन्स की तरह नहीं है. उसका जो शोल्डर का मूवमेंट है वो ओरंगुटन्स से डिफरेंट है. बट द अदर फीचर्स resembles orangutan, so it is considered to be the ancestor of orangutan. Now let us see what are the general characteristics of Ramapithecus. The striking feature of this Miocene fossil is that the dental arcade जो हमें पहला फॉसिल मिला था उसमें भी हमें dental arcade ही मिला था, एंड जो dental arcade मिला था उसी के बेसिस पे हम लोगों ने ये साइंटिस्ट ने ये डिसाइड किया था कि दिस माइट बी द एंसेस्टर ऑफ ह्यूमंस, बिकॉज जो इसका टीथ का स्ट्रक्चर है, जो जॉ का स्ट्रक्चर है, वो बहुत कुछ रिजेंबल करता है मॉडर्न ह्यूमन से. द डेंटल आर्केड वॉज राउंडेड, दो इन एप्स इट इज वेरी डीप एंड यू शेप्ड, बट यहाँ पे क्या है, ये हल्का सा राउंडेड शेप में है. द कैनाइन्स आर स्मॉल, दो इन एप्स द कैनाइन्स आर वेरी लार्ज. Probably the incisors small and spatulate. Incisors भी comparatively small हैं in comparison to apes. It can be deduced from these features that the front teeth were no longer used for tearing the food, because जो छोटे दांत हैं, canine small है, इसका मतलब कि canine का use tearing of food में नहीं हो रहा था. And this was the function of the hands freed by bipedalism for the task. This shows that the hands were comparatively free and which led to bipedalism. The molar teeth of Ramapithecus are relatively much larger than those of Homo. अब ये जो स्मॉल कैनाइन आपने यहाँ पर देखा, इंसाइजर स्मॉल देखा, डेंटल आर्केड राउंडेड देखा, ये होमिनिड फीचर्स हैं. बट अब डिफरेंस क्या है होमो से, होमिनिड से इनका डिफरेंस क्या है कि जो इनके मोलर टीथ हैं दे आर वेरी लार्ज, विच शोज दैट they were eating very hard food, they were not eating cooked food, and but these molar teeth are smaller and from those of Dryopithecus. So it was they lie in between the Dryopithecus and the hominids, the molar teeth. Now let us see the anatomical features of the Ramapithecus. The incisor and canine are inserted vertically. Now what can we see over here, that the incisors and the canines are inserted vertically and not in slight procumbent position as in apes. अब apes के कंपैरिजन में इनका जो इंसर्शन पैटर्न है वो डिफरेंट है, apes की तरह नहीं है. इट इज मोर लाइक hominids, little or no canine diastema. अब ये जो कैनाइन है ये कंपैरेटिवली क्योंकि स्मॉलर है तो यहाँ पे डायस्टेमा भी एब्सेंट है. नाउ यू मस्ट बी नोइंग व्हाट इज डायस्टेमा. डायस्टेमा इज जो एप्स होते हैं उनमें जो अपर कैनाइन होता है दैट इज वेरी लॉन्ग एंड द लोअर कैनाइन इज आल्सो वेरी लॉन्ग. तो उनको जो एडजस्ट व्हेन दे क्लोज देयर जॉ, तो दे फाइंड देयर इज अ space is present between the teeth where the lower jaw canine gets fitted into the upper jaw and they are able to close the mouth, and this is called as diastema. The canine of the Ramapithecus are not projected and they possess narrow faces. Now, canines क्योंकि small है इसलिए वो projected भी नहीं है and they possess a narrow and small face. Apes की तरह बहुत robust face नहीं है, face narrow है और canine भी छोटा है. The dental arcade was rounded. Dental arcade इनकी rounded है. The palate of Ramapithecus is arched as in man. अब ये भी एक hominid feature है कि Ramapithecus की जो palate है वो arched होती है, which is unlike of apes. Flattened and thick enameled premolar and molar that appear to be adapted for hard chewing. Right? They were eating very hard food. Now let us come to locomotion and posture. They were doing knuckle walking. Knuckle walking, while not definitely proven, it is believed that Ramapithecus likely exhibited knuckle walking similar to modern gorillas and chimpanzees. What is knuckle walking? Knuckle walking is like what you see in this figure. Ramapithecus is holding his fist and he is walking with the help of the knuckles. The knuckles are touching. Knuckles of the palm are touching the surface, and with the help of them, it is walking on a tree. So these are the knuckles. These are the knuckles, and Ramapithecus was using these knuckles to walk, and hence we can say that they were doing knuckle walking, which is very similar to the modern gorillas and the chimpanzees. Adaptation क्या था? Their anatomy suggests that they were adapted for climbing and moving through trees. तो वो हमेशा climb करने के लिए और trees पर move करना उनके लिए बहुत आसान था. Bipedalism. There is no strong evidence suggesting that Ramapithecus was bipedal, although some features may indicate a potential for occasional upright walking. Sometimes वो upright walking करते थे, but they were not very confirmed bipedals, right? Miocene के टाइम पे जब there were forest and there were grasslands also, तो जो apes forest में रह गए वो गोरिल्ला, चिंपैंजी, ओरंगुटन एंड मंकीज की तरफ बढ़े, और जो वहां से एंसेस्ट्रल स्टॉक बाहर आ गया, जो ग्रासलैंड की साइड आ गया, उसने क्या किया? दे हैड टू सर्वाइव ओवर देयर एंड सो दे entered into a different environment, जिसकी वजह से उनकी जो line of evolution थी वो differently हुई in comparison to those apes who stayed back in the forest areas. तो उन दोनों की क्योंकि environment change हो गए, इसलिए उनकी evolution की जो line थी it also changed. And the Ramapithecus belongs to that group which came out of the forests. Significance in the hominid lineage. Now, early hominid provides insight into early evolution of hominoids, the group that include apes and humans. Now, this Ramapithecus can be categorized into an early hominoid stock. It points towards the early hominoid stock, and it provides the new insights into the early evolution of hominoid. It belongs to the ancestral stock and it shows किस तरीके से different environment में different adaptations हुआ और हमारा humans के development में एक link बनता चला. Now let us talk about the missing link. While not a direct ancestor of human, Ramapithecus features help us understand the trait that characterize hominids. अब क्योंकि Ramapithecus का जो स्टॉक है इसमें कुछ चीजें हैं जो humans से मिल रही हैं, कुछ चीजें हैं जो apes से मिल रही हैं, तो ये दिखाता है कि there is some missing link, जो direct ancestor हम कह सकते हैं कि it was a direct ancestor of the humans. इसमें ये एक ट्रांजिशनल फेज को रिप्रेजेंट करता है जिसमें कि कुछ फीचर्स ह्यूमन के हैं और कुछ फीचर्स एप्स के हैं. फॉसिल रिकॉर्ड्स contributes to the growing knowledge of extinct hominoids and their place in the evolutionary tree. With the help of the Ramapithecus, we can also understand and study about the extinct hominoid stock, which must be present in the evolutionary tree. This chart shows that it was the Cretaceous period when the prosimians and anthropoids divided from the primate ancestral line. Then in Paleocene, they were further divided into lemurs, lorises, and galagogs. Then came Tarsiers. Then in Eocene, we see the diversion of New World and Old World monkeys. Then we see the diversion of Old World monkeys and the apes. Then in Oligocene, we see that there were gibbons, orangutans, and humans. During the Miocene, these African apes and humans and Asian apes and Egyptian apes, this ancestral stock of Miocene and Pleistocene is very varied, and one of the member of this time period is Ramapithecus, about which we are talking now. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe my channel Learning Tank. Thank you.